Today we are going to look at making a focaccia bread so that we can do a decorated focaccia loaf. So what I am going to start off with is I'm going to add in my packet of fast-acting yeast. So it's just dried yeast, so just one packet will do, and we're going to use that to make it so that it rises, so it will produce carbon dioxide as it goes through that respiration state. And then I'm going to add in 2 teaspoons of fine sea salt. So I have got a coarse sea salt that I have just ground so I can use it. We're then going to add in into a well in the centre 2 tablespoons of olive oil, and then to that I've got about 300 millilitres of warm water, so it's hand hot water which we want to be using because that is going to activate the yeast and get it to work a bit quicker. So I'm going to add in the majority of that, a fair amount of that, but then I will leave some to see if I need to add some more once I've mixed it all together. So you're then bringing it together. Remember to always keep your yeast and your salt apart when you initially put them in, because that will kill off the yeast. So the salt and the yeast mix, it affects the way in which the yeast works. So you're just going to bring it together and just using a fork so that you don't get sticky wet hands. So it is come together, but it's still a bit dry, so I am going to add a bit more water. Once it's come together in a bit of a clump, you are then going to get your hands in to bring it all together and turn it out onto your clean work surface. So now we just need to knead it. Kneading is where we are stretching the gluten. So the gluten is the protein that we find in the strong flour, and its structure is a springy coil, and that's what gives the strength to our bread dough and makes it so that it's springy. And what we're just trying to do is we're just trying to align all of those gluten strands, and the yeast can then produce carbon dioxide and it can be trapped in nice consistent sized bubbles. So you just folding and stretching, folding and stretching, and you need to do that for about 5 minutes. Once you've been kneading for about 5 to 10 minutes, it should look smooth and you should be able to touch it and it'll spring back up. So you know that that is now ready to prove. You're then going to get yourself your bowl and then just put a small amount of olive oil into it and just move that so that it goes around the sides. And this is just going to help you allow your bread to prove, your dough to prove, and it will gradually move up the sides, okay, so it doesn't get stuck and form a skin and then not allowed to rise. So I'm just going to cover that with a tea towel now, or maybe some cling film if you've not got any clean tea towels, and then leave that to rise for about an hour until it doubles in size. Once your dough has doubled in size, you are just going to get a rectangular tin, which is about 25 centimetres by 35 centimetres, and you're just going to grease it with some oil, so this is going to prevent it from sticking. And also, if you have got some, you can scatter over some polenta flour, so some cornmeal, whether it's fine or coarse, it doesn't really matter. This is also going to stop it from sticking, and it will give it a bit of a crispy base to your focaccia. So you're just preparing your tin. And then what you're going to do is you're going to get your dough out of the bowl, and you are just going to spread it and stretch it out into the corners of your tin. And then you're going to cover it over with a tea towel again, and you're going to leave it in a warm place again for another half an hour whilst you prepare your vegetables and herbs for your decoration. Once your bread has been left to prove for a second time for about half an hour and you've prepared your vegetables and herbs, you need to get yourself 2 tablespoons of olive oil and a tablespoon of water and just mix it up well. And then what you're going to do is you're going to get your brush and you're going to do a liberal brushing all over your bread, and this is just going to keep it so that it's nice and moist and hydrated. So once you've brushed it with oil and water, you're just going to sprinkle over some sea salt, so some coarse sea salt. And then you are ready to arrange your decoration.